Call the meeting to order. Everybody's here except for our CAO wasn't able to attend tonight because of illness. So at this time, we're now going to pause to seek guidance. You have the agenda before you. Is there any additions or deletions?
Yes, I would like to add, I guess, under new business, just to remind everyone that mental health week. I don't know if it's really information or how.
Wouldn't that go into correspondence more?
Yeah, okay, put in 5.3.
Okay. Mental health week.
Anything else? If not, can I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. There's no delegations or presentations for tonight. The next is the approval of the minutes of April the 8th. A motion to approve.
so,
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. The next is unfinished business from the minutes. Is there anything anybody wants to bring forward or from those minutes? Just noted in the minutes, the handicap door pusher has been repaired.
oh God, I noticed that right away. So what I'm finding, every once in a while, the two doors don't open, only one will, and I don't know if that's something to do with something inside, because they're not supposed to be flipping the thing up and down, right?
Right.
But one time it works, one time it doesn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pat does have to reset it once in a while because people play with the switch even though they're not supposed to.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
So that,
reset that today.
okay. I was just gonna bring that up. I didn't know there was something wrong with the switch. So do we threaten to beat people? Is that allowed?
Caught anyone,
It only works, it's only allowed with me.
I'm fine with that.
Or your Wolfville input, the accessibility?
Oh, yes, it's up there. Can I go get it?
I got it in the truck, I just didn't know if you.
I got it.
Okay, cool, because I just noticed that on the.
Am I allowed to?
Go ahead.
Thank you. What's going on? Thank you.
Reminded.
I think Wolfville is part of an accessibility trial, I think, for the province. I think that's where they're going with this.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
We've been on accessibility kick for a few years down the aisle, so
Is that
Jeff,
something from the spring workshop?
everybody tries to make sure that Jeff,
Yeah. I just noticed something there, but I was going, I thought I was gonna bring it in mine in too.
even though his father.
If anybody wants to read it.
Oh.
Accessibility. I think it was their office.
Yeah. I like it,
Project they
actually.
did.
I
It was
get-
by Rick Hansen. Rick Hansen was there to do
He's a very nice
presentation
guy.
on accessibility, so.
I do like it. You follow.
She's got one, we both picked one up, so.
Economics conversation or
I
something.
thought would be good to
Maybe if
add it
that
to a
can,
future council or whatever, but it'd be
Well-
nice to add it.
yeah, we could maybe just,
Yeah, I think we're all kind of waiting for that pilot project. I think they're presenting.
Accessibility?
There was that one, but there was that one for, one that Wolfville, project that Wolfville did.
Oh, I didn't get it. It was in there when I told her.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
bring it in another time.
Yep.
well, what we'll do is Matt can bring his in and he can give it to Pat and it can be scanned and everybody can get a copy of it that way and we can look at it.
Yeah, I'll bring it in before I leave.
Sounds good.
I'll wait till after the meeting.
Just mention when we go to the anyway, like, you know.
Okay. The next is the CAO report. Are there any comments or questions pertaining to the report?
On the 17th of June, I will be in Cape Breton.
I will also be here in September.
Yes.
So that is going to be the final draft of the budget and the King's Transit implications on our budget will be finalized that evening.
But I can't.
Yeah, I just making sure that So if you have feelings or information circulated before that, to make sure we understand your thoughts on those issues before that evening. And the other three of you, then we will need to stay in close touch on attendance for that session.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I've noted that Linda, you and George won't be here on that day.
No chance that we could meet after committee of the whole on June 10th? To look at the
I could,
budget?
yeah, I'll be,
I'd be okay with that.
I think one of the concerns is we are unsure at this point of the King's Transit.
Yeah, I'm going up tomorrow.
timeline.
I should know something tomorrow.
Well, we can look at this time
Yeah,
frame.
I'm just
It's
thinking-
quite a ways out still, so we can bring it forward and discuss it later on.
I mean, I'm just saying it would work for me and George. and
I'll be on
everybody else.
17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yeah,
I'm
and
always-
but what would happen that way, we'd still only be no more than normal
Yeah,
on the 17th instead of the 10th.
all right.
So, yeah, I will, Wednesday, I'm at King's Transit. We'll hear hopefully what's going on.
Okay.
Good price drop.
Is there anything else in the CAO's report that anybody wants to bring forward?
Starting school, school going.
There's a meeting coming up in the next council meeting. There'll be a presentation or an update to us.
I think her plan was to come to the meeting on the 17th.
Yes, that's what I read in the package.
Any idea about Evan Namath? I wrote him I guess a week or two ago, and he said he was going to get a hold of the TELUS, I think, or one of the phone companies anyway, about coming down to the islands and checking out where the peak single. You know if he had any luck with that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure where he deals directly with Linda.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That was it. That was my thing I was curious about.
Okay, you've got the department reports in your package. Any questions pertaining to the department reports?
Getting really busy with the dog catcher.
Is there any resolve to that?
We are working with our lawyers to get some direction one way or another on that. So
Must be a-
Linda and I are working with the lawyers to try and get some direction there. So that's going to be the only way, yes.
Or,
Yep.
Scott and
Yeah.
whatever, to taking the call and running it.
And then now if you're not
Yeah.
catching the dog barking over and over again too, can't be too fun.
24/7 stakeout.
Well, that'll be something that will get resolved, but yeah, when you look at the reporting, you can see that there's been a couple individuals that have been calling in excessively, and, I know there may be issues, but they're deeper than just a dog barking, I think. Okay, anything else there? If not, if there's no other comments or questions to the department reports, we're now going to go to business items. Regulations related to the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw input requested by June 28th. Anybody have any chance to read that? It's in a package there.
I gave it a read over, but I'm gonna have to look at it a lot closer to give anything.
Yeah, I think take your time and read through it. And we're waiting. So this is still different. So Jimmy was there. So we had a visit from the province on this earlier in the late fall or early winter. And then Linda and I attended the session in Yarmouth on this. And this still seems to be a bit toned down. So I think we're waiting. Obviously, our planner is looking at these, doing kind of his interpretation of them. But I think that the high level is these are lighter than some of the things that were rumored to be coming. So we're cautiously optimistic at this point. But yeah, I think take your time and read through them.
But there is one thing, Jeff, with that, and it's a question I have for it, is that if we're going to do any land use zoning or any changes to our land use zoning, we're supposed to let our respective neighboring municipalities know that. Okay, we let them know it, but what do we do? If they have any feedback to us, like what's the mechanism or what is done with their feedback?
So I'm not sure where Gordon stands with it during our session. So that came up, and he was hoping, but I haven't seen it in any of the material, because it was suggested at the session we were at, that this would be a fantastic place for the Department of Municipal Affairs to come up with a model of what that consulting and what you should do with it should look like. Whether we all adopt it or not, but we've got 50 municipalities that are all supposed to bring this in next year. So we all shouldn't have to come up with, but that was the piece that the legislation is only going to say we have to ask our neighbors. But the suggestion out of our session was that would seem like an appropriate model for perhaps the Department of Municipal Affairs to work on, or Gordon's department to come up with some recommendations. Because that is going to be a very tricky one. The other thing that came up there is clarifying the distances. So if we're doing something in, I guess the town at least is a little bit close, but if we're doing something in Conway, should we have to notify Clare?
Well, that's the thing.
Trying to clarify which.
That's a neighboring municipality. I mean, like we have three neighboring municipalities. So there's no clarity on that. There's also no clarity as to the rationale as to why you do it. Like why, like if you inform them you're going to make any changes to your land use zoning, why is it that they're asking us to do this? Like, you know, what's behind it? You know, is another municipality going to be allowed to influence what zoning that takes place in their neighbor's municipality? Like, so to me, there needs to be a lot more meat to that, to clarify that for me to feel comfortable about it.
Well, my question would be more, not so much Conway, would be your district, would be Bear River. You got a lot of that plan is going to be coming with the flooding. I mean, yeah, we're sitting here talking about buying a contraption to measure that out. Well, I think Annapolis should have to, you know, the government should say that should be 50-50. What we read on one side of the river is going to be the same on the other side of the river. It's not that wide. So,
yeah, but see, the thing, you're right, and that's to deal with rising sea level. But like, even like, you take some municipalities in Nova Scotia have very in-depth, very comprehensive land use zoning, but their neighbors may have very little. Are their neighbors going to be negatively impacted because they have to go to their neighbor and say, well, we want to do this, or this is what we're proposing to do, and how is that going to impact someone wanting to do something? So I'd like to have more information on that part. George?
So does that involve the town, Clare,
oh, yes,
and First Nation?
The way it's read right now, it says neighboring municipalities.
Well, villages.
First Nations.
It doesn't say First Nations.
No, but they are kind of bordering.
It's a neighboring level of government, but
it's a neighboring government.
But I think in looking at this document, I think it's mainly pertaining to 50 municipalities in Nova Scotia. It's not even looking at villages, it's looking at 50 municipalities.
I think going down the road, it's a good conversation to have to include First Nations, because they are a government, and as time goes on, we will hopefully work together, and you don't want anything negatively impacting them. So.
No. Anyway, so we'll everybody have try to read through the whole document, try to get your head wrapped around it. But I still think that we've got to have some questions answered to what they're trying to propose. Anyway, next thing, summer meeting schedule. We've basically touched on that just a few minutes ago. And June 17th looks bad for a couple of councillors.
I think the other thing that Linda wanted to discuss, or I guess see what people's plans were. I think the last couple of years we've done committee of the whole. We do council in July and committee of the whole in August. So that would put council on July 22nd.
July 26th.
And I think there's an audit meeting that will be scheduled, I believe, for the 15th. The audit committee. July 15th. But I think Linda just wanted to see if that concept of council in July and committee of the whole in August.
July 22nd, council.
I think, again, Linda's not here. I'm just saying this is the concept. These aren't carved in cement yet. I would wait until.
So we do the committee of the whole in August then.
Yeah, committee of the whole in August.
and then back to regular
And back to regular.
in September.
Maybe the whole on the 12th of August.
Okay.
Like I say, she'll
We
provide-
wouldn't have our committee of whole on the 5th of July, right? Isn't that what I thought there?
No, we'd only have, we'd have council in July, and we'd have committee of the whole in August.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see July.
It's not in the package.
No.
Okay.
And I don't have a copy either. I'm just
I could
guessing on-
technically do the 6th of August. I won't be here the 12th of August. I
We don't move committee of the whole.
What's that?
We don't move.
We
Oh,
don't
okay.
move committee of the whole.
So,
But yeah, like I said, Linda will clarify this when she's at.
10
she's
years.
at-
we'll talk about this at our council meeting.
But our audit meeting is scheduled for 6 PM on the 15th of July.
Right.
Okay, and then council on the 22nd.
Committee of the whole on the 12th of August.
The next month, please.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda was the chain of office and municipal crest. David Irving had approached me on this, and the chain of office and municipal crest was designed and Fred Whitehouse and Gene Sampson. They were the ones that originally came up with the design, and actually Fred actually made the chain of office from what David had told me. David was involved in this. Linda, you would have, yeah, David's idea, and he was involved with seeing that that got done. And then Gene Sampson is the one that came up with our crest that we have now. So David had mentioned to me that it would be really nice if we could maybe recognize these individuals. They're getting up there in age, and felt it would be appropriate to do that. That we could have them in at a council meeting and recognize them for what they've done for the municipality.
Sounds right.
So everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
That's what it's on
You
here
got
for.
some good balls.
Okay? So that'll take place at a future council meeting. Funding request, Tiverton Board of Trade. This is a request that we talked about, and in your package you'll find that Bob Powell put comments in there about he's been working with them for a while.
And they had the opportunity to get money.
Yeah, and they didn't apply for money for what they're looking for. So they applied. I mean, Bob's been working with Helen for a year and a half, and there was opportunities to, I think, apply for funding.
That's the stuff that they're gonna do for the phase 2, the larger stuff, and they decided this year to go for the.
But they didn't even apply to DARC for any money.
You have to, yeah, at least apply.
They didn't apply. They didn't get turned down because they never applied. So, and I don't, it's a tough one because, I mean, it's a recreation initiative and they should have applied to DARC for funding, especially if Bob has been working with them.
And asked them to do it.
And he asked them to do it, yeah, so like.
There was so how am I gonna explain this? There was a bit of a community use agreement in regards to this, and I was asked to come up and went to the community meeting, talked to several of the people involved, and the end solution sort of was pitched was a phase 1, phase 2. That's sort of why these things sort of occurred. And the solution has been agreed upon. I suggested $1,000 from us, but I also suggested that we wouldn't do anything unless the village matched us through $1,000 that I suggested. So yeah, the timing, there were some issues with it. They requested me to come up. I was chatting with them, and the proposal that came out of it is the result of a compromise within the community.
Councilor Ross.
I feel it's very disorganized, Dave. I usually agree with you, but this looks disorganized. I think they should be going with Bob. I think the agreement should be right now is to keep going with Bob, get funding the next go around, and then come to us with that. That's how I feel. $1,000 is going to get lost everybody's disorganized right now. Once you get it organized and work with Bob, because that's where it's supposed to be, once that's on board, then I'll be on board.
Well, I'm still hoping to have, I'm still gonna make a motion, and I hope that people will consider it.
Oh, no, I think we should get it organized.
I understand that, everybody has different opinions, I do too, often. But just for how this came together, this is a solution that was worked out between several people. Of course, I'm gonna rely on, whether or not you guys agree, but, they know that as well. It's not always me that makes the decisions. But there was some serious conversations that went on beforehand, and this is a way for this board to go forward rather than for them to focus on. The reason it's 2 phases is good. It's a very good reason. We can deal with one group of concerns, and then the next year the other group of concerns. So the first year's group of concerns are much smaller. They have to do with the children in particular, and that's where they got hung up on whether or not they should be applying for a playground for kids, or they should be focusing on the walking path for adults. So that was where the problem is, and this is a broker solution anyway, that we could do the kid stuff easily and quicker, and we already have a date set for doing the work for the physical, the Tiverton, the in-kind portion. And $1,000 from the village and $1,000 from us, and then they'd have a little playground. It's also right next door to the tourism center that we operate, that we have in Tiverton, that we give a few $1,000s to. It's a bunch of rotten, falling apart equipment. They just want to be able to slap fit together, clean it up. And so for this year, it'll be presentable, and then next year I'm going to help them out, and we're going to do a proper, larger phase 2 to the project. However, this will deal with the immediate problem right now, as is the swings are rotten and broken, and so is the teeter-totter, and it's right there next to, our tour center. It's not a large amount of money. Things sort of came together this way. They have been at it for a while. They have had a few dinners and bingos. They haven't. It was just they got sort of caught up in a vision issue, and I was able to solve it. So I'd hope that you guys would consider giving $1,000 matching the village on this, and we'll be back next year after it's gotten that much better for the second phase. Yeah.
My question is, why would you be back to us next year when Bob's telling you?
Phase 1, phase 2, because next year is
It
it's
shouldn't be
a lot
going to
more.
us at all. It should be going then to Bob, because he said he even explained to them to go to Yarmouth and talk to them.
Yeah, well, Bob, but we were also told that we were supposed to get a whole bunch of information from Garrett, who did not return any phone calls to us and Bob, and that was the person that Bob brought down that was supposed to be able to put this down. The guy's not returning phone calls to Bob himself, and Bob said that Garrett owed him personal favors and he's not returning phone calls. And so now we have a rotten, everything falling apart. Garrett never got back to us, and we've been trying to get hold of him for months. And now it's just, okay, we'll put a teeter-totter down, we'll put up some swings, at least it won't be embarrassing.
Again, all I'm saying is, you're talking about next year. You shouldn't be seeing this next year.
All right, well,
It
next
should be
year
going
I'll
through-
be-
It
yeah.
should be going through totally
Yeah.
Bob next year.
Mhm.
My other thing is, what you're doing, is it going to be CSA approved?
Yes, well, everything automatically, if you can't put anything in there under your insurance, unless it is, so.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to give $1,000.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it because for discussion purposes.
Okay, Council Manager.
According to the letter, like, it's been a year and a half trying to get your groups together or working together or whatever. And it sounds like it just came together at the last minute. Like the funding's supposed to go, it should go through Bob, or should go through first.
Didn't follow Bob's direction, and Bob's direction, it never panned out with Garrett. Like, nobody got back with what the cost was. He did come down, he's supposed to give a design and the recommended cost, and never heard anything again.
How come you
that
didn't-
left us,
But
that left us coming close
But
to,
from the letter, it sounds like Bob has been and they were supposed to make application or something, or fill an application, and they said, well, we're gonna.
let me bring up Bob's thing here, where is it?
Bob saying that he had a meeting last fall with Representative Meg Cummings from Communities, Culture and Heritage with Helen,
Uh-huh.
and there was no application that came forward from Helen towards CCH funding, and then it was said in here in this letter that Bob followed up with Helen on this to see if they're going to apply for any programs, and I would assist them if need be. Last week or the week before, he spoke to Helen. It sounded like they were going to remove some of the old equipment and look at a loose parts playground. Bob then gave them information on this and also contacted Yarmouth Recreation that they have a loose parts playground. The last discussion that he had with them, it sounded like they were going to do everything in-house. There is funding programs, but they have probably missed the boat for this fiscal year. They also indicated that they were also looking at doing something with the ball field, for example, a walking track. Dark does not have any grant programs that they could apply for at this time.
3/4 in-house is what the budget, 1/4 out-of-house, for us trying to get money. And with the village matching $1,000.
Well, anyway, that's what the letter was.
So we're only looking for 1/4 in there, or looking for themselves first, like.
So $4,000, they'll have the playground done, and.
No, they're gonna have the, teeter-totter replaced, a couple of swings, a building, a little shed, like a box, that you'd have like hula hoops and balls in. That would be it. It's not a huge thing. Just want to get rid of the actively rotten stuff that they got in there now. And it is, like I said, 3/4 the village doing it itself.
Okay.
And it's not a large amount of money either.
Any other comments or questions before we call our vote? All in favor of the motion? Opposed?
Yeah, we go through a lot of names around here.
Nay.
2 nays. That means I have to vote.
You always have to vote, Jimmy.
I know. I've really got a hard time with it because of the letter that Bob sent in and with Helen not following up with Bob on what to do. And if they have a phase 2, like you said, they have a phase 2, are they going to apply? Are they going to go work with these people again? And okay, I can't ask any questions because I've already cut that off, so it's a matter of me making the decision or not. So I'm going to say yes for the kids.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing. Helen needs to realize that this is not the way you apply for funding.
It was the last,
Well,
very last.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't
And I'll
matter.
be with them next year.
It does not matter. It doesn't matter. Like the fact is,
Goes to dark
Goes
next
to
year.
dark.
it goes to dark,
I'm on the committee
and
next year, so everything will be perfect. It won't be me showing up with the people mad at each
but I'm just saying, David, I'm saying yes for the kids,
Yeah.
but I'm also saying that this can't be coming forward to us like this.
Yeah,
Because
no
the
problem.
ballpark
If you-
got money
That's why
last
I
year,
said, in
too.
the end, that's why I said yes to what he said,
Yeah.
because I was gonna vote no.
So was I.
And then,
The
You talked
pumpkins,
me into
the
it,
pumpkins
David.
they get me all the time, what can I say?
Anyway,
Thank you very much, Eric.
remember, it's matched.
It is, I said that we wouldn't even look at it unless it was.
well, they,
Okay.
Tiverton's got to put their money
Yeah,
in
they
as
are,
well.
$1,000. I told them it was overachieved, talked to them an hour and a half ago about
Okay.
Okay, next is the correspondence and information items. We had received a nice letter from the Weymouth Area Health Coalition.
Except,
What?
you said it was a nice letter.
Yeah.
It's saying, when I read that letter, it's saying that Dr. Westby and Dr. Curtis got together, put up the booth, did it all. Read that letter. I'm sorry, I felt that we were the ones who set it up through Dr. Curtis asking us spending the money to set up the booth, us asking Dr. Westby to go. I don't mean that rudely. But when I read that, I feel it's sort of saying, we're glad Dr. Curtis and Dr. Westby did it, but nothing like.
We assisted.
We didn't assist, we didn't do anything. I'm sorry, Jimmy, that to me was not a nice letter.
Well, I looked at it that, I looked at it the way it was worded there. Maybe they physically put the booth together, because they did, but they didn't fund it or set up the, or
Well,
get
all right.
the kiosks into the conference, but.
Yeah, but like when you read it, Dr. Don Curtis and his wife Martha, with Dr. Don Westby, recently attended a Canadian Family Practice Conference in Halifax, attended by some 800 public family physicians. They set up a kiosk at the conference with the aim for the Women's Medical Center and the Digby Hospital Group. They distribute, I'm just saying, when you read that, I understand where they're coming from, but to me, it doesn't sound like we did anything.
No,
I'm with Linda on this a bit, because what we learned at NSFM Thursday with what Colchester did, I know they're saying thank you to us. It would be nice, we need to take that Weymouth Coalition action and not be a coalition. We need to be a partner. We need to know this is the municipality. We have two really great doctors that are with us as a team, that the municipality, these doctors, and anybody else that wants to be on board, we are recruiting. That's what Colchester did. They got 11 new doctors, and we heard all about it. And that's how they did it. They didn't say anything new to us.
No.
Me and Linda. We knew this is what we've been doing. And we started it. And thanks to Dr. Curtis and Dr. Westby, we can do this. This isn't a Weymouth issue anymore. This is a big municipality issue. And that's where they have to come in line with us too. Yes, we did fund it, but thank God they went to that, because they're the doctors. They're the ones that can talk the lingo. So I'm pleased and grateful and everything else that they did that. And but I like to see a little bit more, let's be a team here. The municipality was in this. It was funded through us, but we are a team. We are the retention team. And that's what we need to be, because that's how other communities are doing it. That's what they've got to remember too. This is the Weymouth Village and Weymouth Coalition. This is municipality and our doctors teaming up, going to these functions, working the best we can, because everybody on the street asks every one of us every day, what are you doing? And I tell them, well, we have two doctors, Dr. Westby, Dr. Curtis, and they're going here, and they're going there, and we funded them to go here. And people are like, wow, that's good.
That's why we're going to have the next coastline. It's going to be in the next coastline.
Yeah, but
I mean,
what they said there, it was all good, but they could have added a little bit more.
no, it's just that when I read it, it's like,
No,
we're letting you know how good they did. Thank you. Not, this was great that you worked with them. When I read that letter, it's telling me, look, municipality, this is what these two doctors did. Step up to the plate. That's how I read that. And maybe I'm wrong, and I apologize if I am.
yeah, and I don't know if that's where it's coming from, but I do want to make sure we're.
That's how I read it.
I'm often comfortable with being the elected people being skipped out of the thanks because of volunteers and things, but this is a little different because it's not, Matt or me or one
No.
person. It's sort of the municipality as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
I just want to make
Normally,
sure we're
though,
a
I'm
bigger
like,
team here.
whatever, who cares?
Normally I don't.
Like,
But when I read that,
Yeah.
and maybe it was because I read that after we had been up
Yeah.
there, and maybe that was what made me see it that
we
way.
have to look at this, we have to be
What they're saying is,
involved
make
as a
sure
community, not as
people know that you're
silos.
up in front and working with the docs. Make sure, because people don't know. They really don't.
Basically, I didn't go to the conference that you went to, so
But
I didn't get the story you got up there. So when I read this, I thought it was good, and I'll tell you why. Because they're appreciative of what's been done, and I think right now it's really good because Dr. Westby gave his time to go to Halifax to do this. Dr. Curtis and his wife Martha, they gave their time to do this because they're caring about the community, and I think and I think that that's great. And I think this coalition, there's 4 people, and I think right now with what's been done and going forward, I think we're gonna work a lot better together on other doctor recruitment initiatives that we have. And, so, to me personally, I saw this as a positive letter.
It is a good letter, it's just, I wanna get away from the Weymouth Health Coalition. I
Well-
want it to be a more, let's be a team, guys. I mean, yeah, they did big things, and they did what they did, but let's get more, let's keep it going, let's get it bigger, because that's how, what we heard was that's how another municipality did it, with some of their local doctors and municipality, and going to some of these places. They didn't really do anything different than I saw what we started doing here this year. So, to me, I feel this is a very positive thing. It's just get away from that coalition name and get the municipality in and these doctors, and maybe we can call it something else.
So maybe we just, send a letter saying, yeah, thanks Dr. Westby for all you guys did. And then in the future, we try to communicate the idea that we're in this as a team and that we're all working together.
I look at it as,
Like
letters addressed to us, and kind of, I would think it's thanking us for.
Being part of it, yeah. And
Oh, no, we
It's
can
not-
send the
It's
thanks
not an
back.
open letter to the public, it's
No.
not a news report, it's.
came to our council.
municipal council.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was positive. And as far as moving forward, I mean, there's another, I think it's really key to have a doctor or a retired doctor helping with the recruitment. Because they, either a doctor or a nurse or somebody high up in the health profession, they understand the health system, and they can talk about the health system here, like Linda could do that too. Talk about what's going on in this area and what we have to offer and the benefits of being here, and answer the questions that people. I couldn't answer that stuff.
No.
But so for Dr. Westby to go to this, Dr. Curtis and his wife to be part of this,
Thank you.
it's a big thank you. And the thing is, I took this letter to be these people, the Weymouth Health Coalition, are thanking us for taking that initiative with them to make this happen and moving this forward. So I thought it was positive.
But as a conversation piece, all that was very good, like the discussing the larger efforts and how we should
Yeah, I'm not
be
knocking
working
you.
together, like as an
I'm just
introduction
saying
to that
that
conversation, this
what
letter.
we
was
learned
good for that,
is-
but
We've got a good thing going here, and I think you
We're going to keep
should
building.
have a meeting with those four and kind of get it built together.
Well, we're going to have
Maybe
another.
have all of us and bring those four in and.
Dr. LaPierre,
Talk
for
a little bit more.
example, wants me to get in the habit of bringing people down to the islands and doing the, hey, everybody, let's go fishing, stuff like that, do sort of fun things.
Mhm.
And there is, people go, but it has to be coherent, I think. And it's still not there, I don't think. I don't think it's being pulled together yet. But like Matt was saying, maybe now is the time to pull it together.
Could be, just another avenue to look at.
Well, we'll keep working on it. So we're going to move on to
But I feel
the.
like I'm not, sorry, I feel like I'm not working hard enough. I also, never working up on it. Worry enough about it.
We'll continue to work on it.
Yeah.
So, the next thing is the Digby and Area Health Services Charitable Foundation is a letter thanking us for participating and being a part of it. So, and the next thing is Mental Health Week. I'm going to turn this over to Debbie Warden.
I just wanted to remind everyone, it is Mental Health Week this week. They are asking people to wear the green ribbon. And what the green ribbon says is like new growth. So because it's like spring, green, and they want people to think.
New beginnings.
New beginnings, thank you. I just wanted everyone to know that. I mean, I know we don't do any proclamations, but we know that mental health is very important. And I just thought that we should just all know about it, that it is this week, and it is, again, that they are trying to push the issues of what happens, why we need mental health so well and so much.
I got a mental health meeting on the 22nd. I'm really excited about it. Hopefully we'll get something out of it. Hard to get anything out of the medical system though when everything's collapsing. They try to get hard to be optimistic.
So the next thing is we're going to go in camera. So Pat, are you all right in camera here, or you have to leave? You leaving? Okay. Turn off your mic.